Hey guys, Jack here, and today I'm going to be covering three of the most unattractive traits that you can possess that will absolutely kill a woman's attraction for you. Now, each of these will have subcategories under them, and I'll go into those as well. I would say that these account for 90% of the reasons that women lose attraction for you. Also, say they're 90% of the reasons why a woman will end a relationship with you. Okay. So, number one on the list is your inability to keep your composure or frame. So, if you're a guy who easily gets angered, by something that she said or did, or something that's going on in the world, it just shows you're a very weak man who can't handle uh, any shit she's throwing at you or any shit the world is throwing at you. So that basically makes you lose your composure. You're not somebody that says, "Hey, I can handle this. I can handle any problem." And she doesn't feel safe with you. She doesn't feel like you could protect her or her loved ones. This is subconscious, of course. She's not consciously thinking that, but it's just an emotion you're giving her when you get angry, or if you get butthurt by either her testing you or her saying something to you. It just shows you can't control yourself. So angry, anger, and if you're butthurt, this is a subcategory of losing your composure. Another one that can also fit into the next category we're going to talk about is if you show jealousy. Like if you're jealous around her and you're showing like a lot of jealousy or tendency, like where are you going, what are you doing, da da da, you're also losing your composure. um the other the other one would be nervousness or fear. So this is another example of losing your composure. So if you go up to a really attractive woman and you're very nervous or you're very afraid of the rejection, again, you're losing your composure as a man. You're going into a feminine energy, like you're afraid or anxious or something like that. It's not a masculine energy, and you're losing your composure again. Another one that is in this category again is having these weird emotional outbursts. So some guys tend to kind of not be in control of their emotions. So if the girl says something to them and the dude considers it offensive, or like she tried to be mean to him, the guy will start crying. He'll start doing all this weird uh, emotional stuff, like he's releasing his emotional baggage, or he'll blame her for something that happened in his childhood. And this is all an example of losing your composure. If you are a man and you're aiming to be a masculine, attractive man, you should never lose your composure. In the seduction community, they make an example of this. They compare it to being an oak tree, and the woman or others around you being like little squirrels who can't knock over the oak tree, who can't make the oak tree emotionally responsive. So you should just be present, calm, cool, collected, no matter what happens around you, no matter what she says, regardless if she's being mean or shit testing you or whatever. You always want to be calm and cool and respond like a man. Like, hold your tone, don't get emotional, don't start screaming, don't get angry and start hitting stuff. Just be calm, collected, and cool. So, number two, a really unattractive trait that a lot of guys display is being needy. Now, there are multiple examples of being needy. If you text a girl too much, if you send her these long paragraph like texts, if you're communicating with her daily, several times a day, if you're double or heaven forbid, triple texting a girl, if you're worried about a girl flaking, or if she flakes, if you really care that much that she flaked, if you're trying to get a certain result with a girl, you are being needy. The other one that I mentioned from number one as well is being jealous, because a lot of the times the guys that are jealous, they fear that they won't find another girl like her. They're just very insecure. They think that that's the only girl. They think that she's so super special and they'll never find another one like her. And just having this mentality is incredibly needy. If you had 3 or 4 girls that you were seeing regularly, you would drastically reduce this neediness. I would say practically reduce it by 90%. In some cases, you eliminate it altogether. It just requires a little practice, okay? Another example of being needy is accepting bad behavior from a woman. And so many guys establish, a dynamic within a relationship or a frame very wrong early on, because they put up with bad behavior, they put up with a girl flaking, they forgive her, they keep texting her and begging her and telling her, hey, let's go out, and they reward bad behavior. Rewarding bad behavior, or even accepting it is wrong, but rewarding it with more attention and time and spending money on a woman who can't behave properly is vastly needy, and it's unattractive. I mean, all women know when they're being bitchy to you, when they're neglecting you, when they're behaving badly around you, and you accepting it just tells them that you are a weak man and they're not attracted to weak men. All right. Other examples of being needy is accepting that she's breaking your rules, not calling her out on her bad behavior, seeing her too often. So if you're seeing a woman more than once, or let's say twice a week, it's hugely needy on your part. Because if you had 3 or 4 girls you're seeing, you wouldn't have time to see one of them more than once, let's say twice a week, if you really, liked her personality or physical appearance, whatever. You wouldn't see her more than once a week, and she would know that. Other categories that fall in here is you're too needy because you don't have a purpose. So if you have no higher thing than women, no ambition that is higher than getting women, you're basically putting a woman or women on a pedestal. So you should always have something else you're focusing on. Your career, your body, your family, your company, your business, whatever it is, something should always be higher up on the hierarchy than going out and picking up women or a certain girl you're dating. All right, number 3, and this is another trait that's hugely unattractive, especially for women, is when you qualify yourself. So anytime you explain something to someone to where you're trying to get them to understand you or forgive you for a certain, something you're lacking, or maybe a physical trait you're lacking, or something to that effect. Like, let's say a girl calls you fat and you're like, oh, well, no, I'm going out to the gym. I used to weigh, 30 pounds more back last year, but now I've trimmed down and da-da-da. You're qualifying. You're trying to explain yourself. You're trying to, explain yourself to the other person so that they accept you and that they, allow for your shortcoming. You don't want to do that. You don't want to ever qualify yourself for something you're lacking physically, especially, but even another trait. I mean, if you can work on that trait, and a lot of people have told you, hey, you're kind of an asshole, or hey, I don't like it when you do this and you do it quite often, then work on it. But if some girl just tells you, hey, you can't lift that much weight if you go to the gym or something, and you're like, oh, but I was benching more when I was younger, or oh, really? Well, no, because this is my max, or I'm tired, or whatever your excuse is, don't make it anymore. Just make a joke out of it, or just give her a look and smile and then move on like you don't care. You don't ever want to qualify yourself to someone, okay? Another way of qualifying yourself is bragging. Anytime you're bragging to someone, it shows that you're trying to impress them. You see them as higher than you. Because if you really thought of yourself, like I think of myself, a billionaire, rock star, astronaut, then you would never say anything to impress anyone. Like if somebody says, hey, you have a shitty car, I'm like, hey, you have a shitty mouth. Or I don't know. I just say something where I don't care. I'm like, oh, cool, I'm glad you like it. Or, oh, thanks. Or I just ignore them like they never spoke, or I'll just smile. I'll give a smirk and I'll be like, mm-hmm. And then I move on. It's not like I'm trying to impress them because I don't care what they think. As long as you know who you are, you're the only person whose thoughts matter. Then again, I said if 30 people are saying, hey, you're a dick, then you might want to work on that. But still, it's still important what you think. If you know you're not a dick deep down inside, then disregard the haters, disregard everybody else. All right, so another way of qualifying yourself is making decisions based on what others will think about you. So, a lot of pressure. I had a lot of pressure from my parents to become a doctor. So I started on that route when I was in college. I was going to be a doctor. And about halfway through, I realized that I really didn't want to be a doctor. And I started resisting. And then I made my own decision. But see, I was influenced at first because I really wanted my parents' approval. I really wanted to make them happy. But in the end, I realized, especially since I was not around them every day, since I went away to college, I was about 2 hours away. I realized that, hey, it's my life. I was paying my own way in college. And I was like, why are they making decisions for me? Why am I making decisions trying to please somebody else? So live your life the way you want to, based on your own thoughts and beliefs and opinions, of yourself. Don't go based off, oh, what will so-and-so think of me? What will my parents think of me? What will my brothers say? What will my neighbors say? What will my friends say? No. If they're meant to be, people who support you and meant to be in your life, they will support you no matter what your decision. As long as it's legal, and keep it legal. Don't do anything crazy. But as long as it's within legal limits, you should go do what makes you happy. You should make the decision based on your own thoughts. Like I said, your own opinions, because you're going to live with those decisions. Nobody else is going to live with the decision you make. So if you go into a career path that you don't like just for somebody else that you're trying to impress, it's going to be a huge mistake. So do what makes you happy. Another one is, under qualifying yourself, is giving long explanations, trying to logically explain something to a girl. Don't do that. Women are very emotional. You should focus on changing their mood, not their mind, because your long story and rationalizations and explanations aren't going to change her mind. So I'm sure there are other unattractive traits, but most, like I said, 90% fall under these three subcategories. But I'm sure, like I said, there is 10%. But if you eliminate these, you will have no problems keeping girls around, keeping attraction, as long as you work on these. I think there was another one of being needy that I didn't put in, but I'll go back to it now. A bonus one, subcategory of being needy is, giving away too many details about yourself, eliminating all the mystery. It's like dudes love to keep talking and talking and talking. You never want to start gossiping. You never want to start giving away all your details and just talking shit about people, or telling a woman everything you've got planned out for the future, or what you've got going on in your life, what you're doing every day. I have a friend that was texting her girl, hey, going to the dentist. Hey, got done with the dentist. My teeth are all good. No cavities. It's like he was keeping her updated on all his little activities, even the mundane, really boring bullshit. And their relationship lasted only around, I think, a month and a half. No longer than that, because the girl was full of it. And she didn't know how to tell him in a nice way that she wasn't interested in all the bullshit he kept updating. Like, she had no time to wonder, I wonder what he's doing right now, or wonder what he's up to, because he was constantly sending her updates, which was unattractive. He was also writing like long messages, 2 to 3, double, triple text. And then she would be like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. Her texts were always short because she was like, I don't know what to respond back. Anyway, work on these. Like I said, shouldn't need to read any other relationship books or watch any other relationship advice, because these will eliminate the majority of every other unattractive trait you may have. All right, thanks a lot. Have a good one. And check out my website at datingarchitect.com for other great articles that will help you get some really cute girls.